You know, this is one other thing that people don't ever kind of give us credit for. Anytime the government comes and, you know, if my father travels, they stay at our properties for free, meaning like, you know, cost for housekeeping effectively, because you actually have to legally charge government something. So everywhere that he goes, if he stays at one of his places, the government actually spends, meaning it saves a fortune, because if they were to go to a hotel across the street, they'd be charging him $500 a night, whereas, you know, we charge them like, you know, $50.
Except when you don't, which is ever. So you will be shocked to discover that literally none of that was true. A big, ugly lie that was Eric Trump. According to a House Oversight and Reform Committee investigation released today, Trump hotels charged the Secret Service as much as $1,100 a night. That would be more than 5 times the hotels across the street, or the recommended government rate, even after Trump left office, not the $50 Eric talked about. We're back with Claire. And Charlie, you know, this goes in the category of shocking but not surprising, Claire, but the grift, I mean, do you think that we'll ever, and kudos to Congress for still following the money, but do you think we'll ever really understand the historic way in which the Trump family enriched themselves on the backs of all U.S. taxpayers?
Hey there, Patriots. This is True Outlaw Patriot coming at you with another one. That video clip that I showed you from MSNBC came out about 2 years ago, where all of a sudden Biden's Department of Justice wanted to investigate Donald Trump when he had Secret Service, stay at his hotel while he was there. And they came up with this, how can I say, all of a sudden trying to follow money, in their eyes, the way they like to put it, and saying and accusing Donald Trump of charging Secret Service an absorbent amount of money for the hotel rooms that they were staying in. Meanwhile, they took all that as fact, and they later found out that that was all a farce. In fact, what you heard from his son, was actually more towards the truth of how they did it. They either charged them, and mind you, this was at the request of Secret Service that wanted to stay at the hotel rooms. So instead of Donald Trump charging the American taxpayer for that, Secret Service decided to pay it out of their own pockets. They either paid the same amount for a room, either less or like $50, whatever the case was. So like that, Trump could have Secret Service in the hotel while he was staying there. But once again, of course, like everything else that falls flat on its face when it comes to MSNBC and CNN and all that, and we already know how their news stations are going. It's funny how fast forward now, and it seems that Hunter Biden and Ashley combined are being protected, I believe, by 30 or 31 Secret Service agents. And now you have to question. MSNBC wanted to call Donald Trump out for charging Secret Service. Not the taxpayer. Charging Secret Service out of their pocket to stay at the hotel rooms. Now, some people may think that's bad. To me, in all honesty, is neither here nor there. He's a businessman. We all know about it. Especially in light of all the information we've been getting, the way Biden and his regime have been just spending hundreds of billions of dollars worldwide. But I'm not going to get into that right now. But it seems that now Biden's not in office, but yet people like Mike Pompeo, Bolton, his daughter Ashley, his son Hunter, are getting Secret Service. So Donald Trump decided to say, you know what? No, it's not going to happen. Now, some people say that it's a political move. Some people say that he's trying to, cut down on the budget. Me personally, in all honesty, listen, I don't want anything bad to happen to anyone. For as much as I dislike somebody, I would never wish any harm on anyone. But once again, like I said in my last video, these Democrats pulled so much. And if anybody remembers at Butler, Pennsylvania, there was a remark that was made, I believe it was by Mayorkas, I think it was, saying that they didn't have enough money in the budget to give Trump and Kennedy and other people that was going to be part of Trump's cabinet Secret Service because it wasn't in the budget. Okay? After some backlash, right away they turned that tune around. They found some money. Oh, now we got the money for Secret Service. But if nobody put any backlash out, they most likely probably wouldn't have given them Secret Service. Okay? But now fast forward, and you're gonna see in this video clip that I'm gonna play. I specifically chose this one from The Hill because it has a little more detail, number one, and number two, you need to hear the leftist commentator that's on here. And this man, he pushes back. In all honesty, he pushes back because he's basically showing that he's basically shutting her up in the double standard that the Democrats have when it comes to what they want. And once again, they think that people just forget, okay, things that they said, things that they did, and they make it seem like, oh, you know what, it's good enough for me, not for you, so it's all okay. Whereas Trump comes out and says, you know what, no, you wasn't the president. Your wife wasn't the president's wife. So you guys don't deserve Secret Service. You guys have money. You've made a lot of money with your crooked dealings and fraud all around the world and on the taxpayer dime. You pay for it. Okay? Because lest anybody forget, Donald Trump was paying for his own security. Okay? As a matter of fact, the man doesn't even take the presidential salary. But leave it up to the left, once again, to try to blow all of this out of proportion. But with that being said, right quickly, I just want to thank all my new subscribers and all my subscribers here on YouTube and on Rumble. So don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe, pass the channel around. And if you can help support the channel, there's a link in my description to my Cash App and my merch store. So before I continue with this, let's get some music and we'll take it from there. Here we go.
President Trump is stripping more individuals of Secret Service protection. His latest targets are Hunter and Ashley Biden. Trump posted on Truth Social yesterday, Hunter Biden has had Secret Service protection for an extended period of time, all paid for by the United States taxpayer. There are as many as 18 people on this detail, which is ridiculous. He is currently vacationing in, of all places, South Africa, where the human rights of people has been strenuously questioned. Please be advised that effective immediately, Hunter Biden will no longer receive Secret Service protection. Likewise, Ashley Biden, who has 13 agents, will be taken off the list. Spokesman for the Secret Service said that the agency would comply with this directive as soon as possible.
Trump has revoked security details for former National Security Advisor John Bolton, former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, and Dr. Anthony Fauci, and others.
Well,
Trump also said in February that he was revoking former President Biden's security clearance, along with others in his administration.
Hunter Biden recently told a judge that he could not continue a lawsuit against a former Trump administration staffer because he couldn't afford it. The judge granted his bid last week.
Journalist and lawyer Seth Abramson wrote on Blue Sky, Donald Trump has ended USSS protection for both Hunter Biden and Ashley Biden. Another clear signal that he himself never intends to be an ex-president, nor see his family be the family of an ex-president.
Okay, so there you go with people on the left already trying to paint them out to be... That's a jab at him trying to be a dictator. I'm telling you, with these people, it just never ends. And the reason why I say that is because there is a comment that this woman makes that, in all fairness, the other, I never really get his name. I got to learn his name. He basically pushes back on her because she is pushing that same hateful rhetoric, okay? But I'm glad that he calls her out on it. And right away on that garbage website, Blue Sky, where all the liberals are going, okay? And I mean, a lot of people saying that it's garbage anyway. Now you have people putting out comments like this, making it seem as if, you know what, Trump's never going to leave office. You know, it's like that dog whistle was blown years ago, and well, again, it fell flat on its face. But I mean, these these people, I mean, they must drink a cup of brainwash every morning before they start their day, because it's just ridiculous. It's like you're not even concerned, okay, that Hunter Biden, on the taxpayer's dime, is paying for 18 Secret Service agents not to stay home here in America, no, to go on vacation in South Africa. That's not a problem. And God only knows where Ashley Biden's at. I mean, and why give Secret Service protection to Bolton and to Pompeo? They're not part of the government anymore, at least from what I know. So it's not like they need it. They've made a lot of money. They could pay for their own security. But no, leave it up to the taxpayer to pay for this. And I know a lot of people are gonna throw back on it. That's fine. I don't care. But the truth of the matter is that Donald Trump paid for his own security and paid a lot of money. Just like Elon Musk, I'm just going to throw it in there. He pays, I believe, up to $2 to $3 million a year for his own personal protection. Okay? But yet when you got people like Biden and his whole family, and I'm sure that Nancy Pelosi and them, somebody that's worth over $200-300 million, they're more than happy to take all that money from the taxpayers to protect them because they're so damn crooked. But let's continue.
The number of such signals is growing exponentially by the week.
Right, Seth.
Okay, New York Post columnist Miranda Devine wrote in part on X, but bet there are a lot of happy Secret Service agents today. Marianne, Niall and I have discussed this a couple times, and look, on one hand, I don't want, if the Secret Service protection is being withdrawn on a political basis, I think that is bad. I think we should obviously offer protection to public officials, that it is bad when violence occurs to public officials. That is obviously something to guard against. We clearly have needed more Secret Service protection or more competence from the Secret Service when it comes to Trump himself, given he was the subject of a very real assassination attempt that almost succeeded or failed to succeed by mere millimeters, and someone did die and other people were wounded.
Exactly.
So but that's a long way of saying, I don't know that there's, however many agents that were on Hunter and Ashley Biden, that is a lot of people, that costs a lot of money. What is the practice, or who is deciding how many people and how many agents and how much it goes on? Your whole family, cousins as well, all of these officials, Fauci, all of these, that's a lot of people that might be straining this organization that needs to concentrate on real and credible threats to the president and maybe others, but it seems like a lot of people were getting Secret Service protection. Maybe the agency's just spread too thin. So I don't, my gut reaction to this is not, oh, how dare they do that, how improper. I don't know about you.
Well, first of all, when you see something like 18 agents around Hunter...
Okay, right quickly. Here she comes. Pay attention to what she says, people. And look at the expression on his face as she's explaining it.
Biden, I think most Americans would ask, isn't that a little excessive? But the point for me has to do with those political figures, Mike Pompeo, Fauci, and so forth. Let's remember, Donald Trump himself is the one responsible for the violence in the air, the emotional and psychological violence against his opponents. Because he talks about, hear me out here, the way he talks about his political opponents. You can talk about Reagan, you can talk about George Bush. None of them talked about their political opponents like they were bad people, like they were actual enemies. And the president has actually talked about these people in such a way as to make it more likely that people who are perhaps not that mentally imbalanced would think that it was their job, in order to be loyal to the president, to take some action. So absolutely, I do not support...
He's the one who has faced political violence.
He has faced political violence.
If political rhetoric, I strongly disagree that it is so obvious that I agree that obviously Trump's political rhetoric is more heated and outside the norm for recent politicians. That connects to real world violence is something I hear a lot from progressives that I'm deeply skeptical of.
There you go.
Because I don't see those connections very often, and he is himself a figure who's attracted more violence than your average person.
The reason...
Right, and I gotta cut in because it's true, and I'm glad he's pushing back. This woman is a damn dingbat, and she is exactly doing The same thing that all the other people on the left are doing. She's stoking this idea that all the political violence that's going on is coming from Trump and people on the right against people on the left. When time and time again, all we keep seeing is people on the left attacking people on the right. Lest anybody forget, what was his name? Steve Scalise, I believe it was, that was shot and nearly killed by a Hillary Clinton supporter. Okay? I mean, look at what happened at Bolton, Pennsylvania. Look at how many times they try to go and attack Trump. Look at how many times from MSNBC to CNN. I mean, it goes on and on and on. Not to mention content creators. They just push this hateful rhetoric about Trump. He's evil. He's Hitler. He's a Nazi. He's a fascist. He's this. He's that. And it goes on and on and on. And you have all these people attacking. And once again, okay, J.D. Vance was out with his daughter. And he was basically nearly surrounded by a bunch of liberals. Couldn't even give the man respect, him walking with his 3-year-old daughter. And he's telling them, you're scaring my daughter. But no, they took it upon themselves, even with Secret Service there, to go and just verbally attack this man. How many people on the right, and this is an honest question, how many people on the right went in rally to go surround Kamala Harris? 0. How many people on the right did it towards Joe Biden? 0. But yet, you got another shill over here making it seem like, you know what? This is not right because he has stoked so much hate into people's hearts to go after his political opponents that's dangerous. It's like, wait a minute, you mean the fact that the left kept lying, and while they were lying, they were projecting against Trump and his supporters, and people woke up and they're upset about that? Unlike the way people on the left just kept lying and would never denounce when people on the right got attacked, physically attacked, and not just political figures. We're talking civilians out in the street being attacked by people on the left. And this woman's going to come with all the information that's come out, with all the truth that keeps coming out. She's still going to double, triple, and quadruple down and make it seem like this is all Trump's fault. Maybe the fact that Biden lied about his son and that laptop from hell, the fact that his son was out there acting like a traitor doing business with Burisma out in Ukraine, the way they put all that farce together, Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden, Barack Obama, Hunter Biden, his Joe Biden's brother. I mean, it goes on and on and on. And yet she's going to come and try to point the finger at Trump, saying because of his rhetoric, making it seem like politicians on the left are being attacked. How many times have we heard Maxine Waters getting telling crowds of people to get in people's faces, or Hakeem Jeffries, okay, or what's his name, Spartacus from New Jersey. AOC's always pulling that. Let's not forget Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar. And we can't forget good old Chucky Boy, the way he made threats to Kavanaugh and them, Supreme Court judges. And then they wind up stopping somebody from going to his house that was ready to murder his wife and children, and him. And you're going to say that was Trump's fault? Unbelievable.
We have not seen, or
we don't have a lot of political violence in this country.
That's the reason we don't have the political violence is because the security measures make it preventable. That's why.
No, that's, you see, straight up bullshit. He's saying they don't have the political violence. She goes, no, they don't have it because of security. No, it's because many people on the right do not believe in that. It makes us look bad. Whereas people on the left have been entitled to pretty much say and do whatever the hell they want. Pull down statues, burn down stores, beat people up, stop traffic, all that nonsense. Protest upon protest upon protest, go after cops. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And then on top of that, police officials, cops and all that were being told, stand down. Don't arrest anybody. And then when they did arrest people, they were let go to go back out there and do it again. Unreal.
security protection for these ex-political figures is so important, particularly someone like a Mark Milley, particularly someone like a Mike Pompeo. We should not be taking any kind of protection away from such people, and particularly at a time like this. I think, this...
But hold on a second. But Pompeo, in the Pompeo circumstance, the reason he would need protection would be from, like, Iran. Like,
yes.
Not because of there's political rhetoric out there.
You're absolutely correct. I was not saying that, actually.
Yeah.
But I'm
Okay.
saying that in such an immoderate moment in this country and in the world, we should not take lightly the idea of the necessity for security protection for ex-political people who have been in political power. And this is you're not going to like this, but this is a common way that authoritarian figures start quieting their enemies, start quieting people. If you take security protection away from people who have strong opinions that are in opposition to you, this is a way of quieting the opposition. And this.
You mean the way they were suppressing people and they still try to suppress people and censor them online, out in the street, stopping people from going to church during COVID? You mean things like that? Stopping people from hanging out in groups of 5 or 6, telling them that they couldn't, taking away their freedoms, as if we were really in Nazi Germany? Who did all that? Oh yeah, that's right, the Biden regime. And a hell of a lot more than that. But this woman's going to sit there and believe everything she's saying, knowing for a fact that, you know what, it's not true. Now listen, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to get anybody upset where they're going to go and do something wrong. No, violence is wrong. What's wrong is wrong. But like I said in my last video, man, karma's a bitch. Okay? They kept poking that bear and poking that bear, thinking that Trump was that he wasn't gonna come back, number one, and if he did, that they were gonna keep their stooges inside to try to mess him up the way they did the first time around. But no, Trump decided a long time ago that he was gonna come back and he was gonna do things different. But this is what the left doesn't like. You know? They think that we can, like I said, they think that they can pretty much say and do whatever they want. And then project it and say, well, this is what's going on. How many times has anybody seen, okay, protest of people on the right going out there and just vilifying people on the street and burning down stores, destroying property, attacking people? And nobody can say otherwise of that. Now, have there been instances of people getting into arguments and confrontations, small ones? Yes. But on a massive scale, all that is coming from the left. Because of the hate that they keep feeding. Rhetoric like what this woman is putting out. It's non-stop. You can't just admit and say, you know what? The whole political spectrum is very heated. Let's tone the rhetoric down, but they won't. When they said they were going to tone it down after Butler, Pennsylvania, and what did it take? A day? Maybe a day and a half before they started all over again? But obviously to their own demise because they lost. But they're going to just keep this up, making it seem like, you know what? We're right, you're wrong. And they're going to keep trying to believe that. I'm telling you, these people are freaking mental, man.
This is something that authoritarians are known for throughout the world, and that's just fact.
I mean, it's...
Yeah, okay.
Again, Trump's rhetoric, I mean, it's his speech. It's his right. He has a free speech right to characterize things the way he characterizes them. No one is responsible. No one who commits violence can say that person is responsible for the violence, are they not? You can't.
No, I agree with you. The accountability,
else.
Of course, the ultimate accountability lies with anybody.
I mean, there was someone. The baseball game shooter was a Bernie Sanders, supporter, and I thought that was totally.
I apologize. It's Bernie Sanders supporter, not Hillary Clinton. But actually, at the time, they said it was a Hillary Clinton supporter. So I'm not going to apologize for that. That's what I heard for a very long time. But he's saying Bernie Sanders, so we'll leave it at that.
Unfair to blame him for any of that, just as it was unfair, we discussed this yesterday, to blame Sarah Palin for the Jared Loughner attack. People like to go, oh, this is why, it happened. And J.D. Vance did that too, and I criticized him for it. Said that the heated rhetoric against Trump invited the kind of violence we saw when Trump was the subject of assassination. I said, no, I don't think we should go down that route.
I'm not in any way saying that the perpetrator of violence is not the one who is ultimately responsible. I am saying, however, that if you look at the history of the American presidency in the modern era, and I pointed out specifically Reagan, Bush, and so forth, there is a reason why dignified presidents speak in measured tones, because their words matter. You were acting like, oh, it's just his heated rhetoric. It's just the way he talks. When you have a president of the United States saying, for instance, that the press is the enemy of the people, when you have the president talking the way this one does, no, it's not just his manner of speech. It is a very deliberative way that he's creating division in this country and seeking to quiet his political enemies. And that's the way I see it.
All right, well, you know what? I'm going to leave it there, but I'm going to show another clip. Since you heard everything that she said, okay? Everything that she said. So she's making it seem because of his rhetoric that basically is making people go out there, go crazy, and do things, which is not the case because, like I said, nobody can really point with 100% absolution that you're seeing a big surge of people on the right attacking people on the left. No, it's the other way around. But at the same time, she's trying to make it seem as if, you know what, it's the people that are responsible for taking those actions. So is she saying that the ones that on the left that attacked should have taken more responsibility and not do that? Is that what she's saying? Because if that's what she's saying, then where was Biden to tone down the rhetoric and tell people on the left, don't go out there, don't act the fool, we got to show them that we're better than them? I never heard it. Not one time. How many times have we heard Biden when he's out there ranting and raving, he will always refer to Trump as a fascist, as a Nazi, as a wannabe dictator. Him, and he will always say this, him and the MAGA Republicans. What did that mean? Who was he talking about? But nobody wants, they won't admit that. They're sticking to their guns. I'm telling you. I had a friend, I'll make it quick before I show the next video clip of Biden to prove this woman wrong. But, and I think I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago maybe. A friend of mine asked me if I thought that the Democrats would change, and I told him no. They will not. Democrat voters, yes. Maybe one or two Democrat politicians, which I still like, I'll find suspect, but the whole party, their messaging and the way they do things, no. That is a hill that they are willing to die on. Because they know that at any given time, if they lose 10 voters because their eyes are open, they know they're going to be able to brainwash 100, 200, 300 more. So they will stick to that. And I say that from experience because many years ago, well, I shouldn't say many years ago, but when Obama was running for presidency, okay, and Ron Paul was running also, I had someone ask me at the DMV, who was I going to vote for? And I came out and said, well, I'm thinking about, I was hoping to vote for Ron Paul. The first thing out of his mouth was, that racist? You're going to vote for that racist? And I was like, you know what? I'm done. And I walked away. It's ridiculous. Ron Paul, out of all people, you're going to say he's a racist? That's the way it was back then. Okay? And it still goes on to this day. The Democrats accuse everyone of being a racist, a fascist, a xenophobe, a homophobe, a dictator, a Nazi, you name it. That's the MO. And this woman is not helping. Let's get to that video clip of Joe Biden and we'll wrap it up. Here we go.
Calls those who oppose him vermin. He talks about the blood of America as being poisoned, echoing the same exact language used in Nazi Germany. You can't be pro-insurrectionist and pro-American. Trump and his MAGA supporters not only embrace political violence, but they laugh about it. At his rally, he jokes about an intruder whipped up by the big Trump lie, taking a hammer to Paul Pelosi's skull, and echoing the very same words used on January 6th. Where's Nancy? And he thinks that's funny. He laughed about it. What a sick.
Yeah, see? They're saying he laughs about it. We laugh about it. Meanwhile, they're laughing about it. And that woman was just saying that, oh no, distinguished presidents don't talk like that. So, you mean to tell me what Joe Biden over here is doing? This is distinguished? And the whole thing about the hammer with Nancy Pelosi's husband, they try to make it seem like that person was a Trump supporter, knowing very well that he had, for some odd reason, and they never really released it, that person, okay, was not a Trump supporter. In some way, shape, or form, he had ties with Nancy Pelosi and her husband. As a matter of fact, when they investigated that guy, and they went to his house, all you seen was transgender flags and rainbow flags decorating the front of his house, his van. Okay, where people were talking about him, saying that he was always strange. Everything that the left is, that guy was. And for some strange reason, the cops come and see him and Nancy Pelosi's husband in their underwear getting into an altercation. Very strange if you ask me. But no, Joe Biden's going to go and spin that around and throw that in there as if that guy was a Trump supporter. They decided to break into Nancy Pelosi's house in a t-shirt and shorts with a hammer. And when you see the video, on video, when the cop showed up, before he hit him with the hammer, I have to admit, okay, which that was totally wrong, but they were both just standing there holding each other's arm as if they were talking about something. Nancy Pelosi's husband was drunk. That guy was all high. What exactly did happen? But that's all besides the point anyway. But you hear the way Biden's talking about him. You heard what he said. I'll play it one more time, and then we'll wrap it up.
Echoing the same exact language used in Nazi Germany. You can't be pro-insurrectionist and pro-American. You know, Trump and his MAGA supporters not only embrace political violence, but they laugh about it.
See, Trump and his MAGA supporters. It's incredible, people. It's incredible. And this woman's going to come out and say that they should not be pulling Secret Service detail because of the rhetoric that's gonna wind up getting those people attacked or whatever the case is. And like I said, I am not for violence. I encourage everybody, you know what? Just stay the hell away from those people on the left. Let them walk in shame. They know what they did wrong. They know they smeared their own names. They know the dirt they were getting into. They know which overlord they served and why they're in the bull that they're in now. Trump's got to do what he has to do. And that's just the bottom line. But leave it up to the left. And they say, nope, that's not good. You got to protect us. For what? You didn't bother to protect all those people back in 2020 that were being vilified, being attacked, that businesses were being burned, cars being destroyed, torched. You didn't protect the civilians. You didn't protect the police. You didn't protect political officials. Rand Paul got attacked, and in case anybody forgets, he got a broken rib, I think it was, out of it, or a fractured rib. Physically attacked. Why? He didn't have Secret Service. He was trying to live his life. You mean to tell me that was somebody from the right? Rand Paul, I mean, he goes out there and he does what he has to do in Washington. But he's a very soft-spoken person. And somebody still took it upon themselves. In fact, it was his own neighbor, the way the story goes. But not in the eyes of the left. No way. This is all Trump's fault. All the rhetoric is Trump's fault. Does Trump get a lot of his rallies? Yes. But he's always making sure to let people know that we all have to stick together. This is for all of America. But nope. The left points the finger, pisses people off, and then when something happens, they do nothing about it. If they get arrested, they let them out. The same way Kamala Harris was collecting money when people were getting arrested back in 2020 that were rioting, just to get them bail money to release them. Meanwhile, people go to the Capitol and protest, which is their constitutional right, and they get arrested and they get thrown into the gulags of Washington, D.C. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. But anyway, that's what I got for you. Don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe, pass the channel around. And if you can help support the channel, there's a link in my description to my Cash App and my merch store. So remember, people, stay vigilant. Keep praying for each other. Keep praying for the women and the children. Pray for this country. Pray for your enemies. Pray for Donald Trump. And pray for all the missing children that they brought across the border. Peace.